And now, since we have Rob Rinder here, it is time to talk through today's top stories. So we're making good use of you, Rob, but we're going to pair you up with Michelle Gayle, who joins us from home. Hello, Michelle.
How are you?
Right, what's
Hi,
the
Michelle.
first story, Ruth?
We're talking about face masks. So a lot of mixed messages, it seems, Michelle, coming here. So we had on Friday, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, said that there should be a stricter approach. People thinking of making it mandatory in public places. There he is in a shop wearing a face mask. However, Michael Gove yesterday saying he doesn't think it should be compulsory, that he trusts people's common sense. Do you understand this? Would you like more clarity? Are you a mask wearer?
I would love more clarity. I do wear masks when I go into shops. I carry it in a bag with me. And I agree, it seems a bit common sense to me if they say that enclosed spaces are the things to avoid. That's the reason why I put a mask on when I go into a shop. But I think it'd be nice to just advise all of us to do that. Sometimes the science contradicts itself about mask wearing. But I do think sometimes for the greater good, it allows more people to come out if they feel they're going to be safe. So some things are psychological.
Yeah, well, the other thing is that you say that about it being psychological. They're saying it's like sending a message, Rob, that, you know, this virus is still here. You know, obviously lockdown is easing and a lot more places open, but people might start forgetting that the virus is still with us.
But message sending is purposeless. You don't virtue signal with science. You either need to wear one or you don't. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The law needs to be clear and it needs to be based on cogent scientific evidence. If it's unsafe to go into a shop or if it's more safe to go into a shop with a mask, we should have to wear one.
Yeah,
the law
this is politicians trying to avoid being seen to be dictatorial. Right. So that's why Michael Gove comes out and says, common sense. Well, we ask you, how many people abide by common sense?
Right, I couldn't agree with you more. It's either safe or it isn't. The law is as clear as mud and about as useful, said it before, as a fart in a spacesuit, and that's no law at all.
And we'll leave you with that thought as we move on to the next point of discussion, which is the amount of establishments that are opening from today.
Yeah, lockdown, you know, is easing, and beauty salons can open as of today. And they're saying the latest guidelines state that services involving work in the highest risk zone, face waxing, eyelash treatments, makeup application, etc., aren't allowed. However, beard trimming at a barber's for men is allowed. Michelle, what do you make of this? Were you looking forward to going to the beauty salon? Some people are saying that these rules are sexist.
I don't know. They seem to say that trimming your beard is essential. That's one of the things they're saying. But I would say my eyebrows are pretty essential to me. And I need help. Yeah, it seems very mixed message again, lo and behold, with the government. It doesn't seem to make too much sense. I don't know if it's because waxing, you're in closer proximity, skin to skin. I just think they need to clear that up because it does seem very unfair.
Also, Rob, I think there's a big thing made, you can get a tattoo or you can get your eyebrows done or whatever. No, you can't get your eyebrows done.
Men can have their beards trimmed.
There are a lot of serious things which aren't mentioned, and I have no idea if I could go to a physiotherapist today, an osteopath today, a chiropodist today. I could go on, you know, there are people who have medical conditions which seem to be much more important and it's not getting coverage.
Well, actually, those have been resolved and you need to go to whichever governing body governs those particular medical interventions. But actually, they've been open for a few weeks, so they're OK. But the other thing that Michelle referred to is absolutely 100% right. It's totally capricious. The law can't be capricious. It has to be clear so that we can all share in it and understand it and respect it. And if you can get a beard trimming, you ought to, just as you do regularly, Eamonn, go and get your back waxed. Don't you think?
But they're saying that you have to... But if you were wearing a mask, as a man sitting in a barber's, if you're wearing a mask to have your hair cut, but to have your beard trimmed, you have to remove the mask. If we were having our eyebrows tinted or shaped, we could still wear a mask. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Quite so. And that's the difficulty. Eventually, people will lose patience and won't follow the law at all.
Right, now we get into one of these controversial issues, and this is the proms and the songs and the anthems that are associated with the proms. There have been calls for songs like, Michelle, Rule Britannia and Land of Hope and Glory to be scrapped from the concert because Richard Morrison, who, what does he do at the BBC? He has a column in the BBC Music magazine.
The Young Musician of the Year.
Yeah, so Richard says these should be scrapped because they're insensitive in the wake of Black Lives Matter. So apparently it's due to the lyrics, and I'll just remind people, Michelle, Real Britannia is Britain's never, never, never shall be slaves. The nations not so blessed as thee must in their turn to tyrants fall, while thou shalt flourish great and free. Any opinion on that, Michelle?
Listen, it's very well known that Royal Britannia is a celebration of the concept of the British Empire. And so, of course, it is offensive to those that were enslaved, shall we say. I think it's important to know that this is not what the Black Lives Matter is about. People are not marching about this. They're marching about making systemic changes. This is one person who is part of the Proms, making and starting a conversation. I think a few people have had about the insensitivity of those lyrics, and long may the conversation start. But I wouldn't like people to think this whole movement is being hijacked by what may seem like quite a trivial thing, like a song, because it isn't. It's about systemic changes, and that's why people are marching.
Rob, I suppose what they're saying is the Proms reflects an Edwardian era, and it maybe should be brought more up to date, more contemporary.
That's right, and it's really important to listen to voices like Michelle's. My issue is this: is that it's not just about the Proms; it's about classical music in general. And I feel very, very strongly indeed about this. Despite how I sound, I am my own special creation and grew up as a working class boy from Southgate, where all of that stuff was culturally removed and out of reach. And what I want to ensure is that classical music is available to as many people as possible. So it's not just this issue, it's all issues where people feel that there's no inclusion. Those classical music spaces should be open for all. I'm a trustee of a chamber music festival, but I also go, believe it or not, to listen to female grime artists as well. And a lot of culture is at arm's length from people because they think it's not for them. And it seems to me that the Proms and all concerts that talk about classical music, perform it, should be saying to people, this is for you, this is for all of us. But I have to say, I love Royal Britannia, and I think it could become an inclusive album, an inclusive song. It depends about the story we tell.
You would keep it, Michelle, would you keep it?
I would like people to understand it more. So it's not about getting rid of it. It's about the understanding of that time and that concept, and knowing why some of those lyrics are not relevant to now.
But you would still tolerate it at the last night of the Proms?
I don't know. I think the more people, I would leave it to the people who are part of that to understand what that song's about and why it may seem offensive, and for them to come to a conclusion as to whether they feel comfortable. For me, if you would sing that song in a room of Black people, continue to sing it. If you would feel awkward singing it in a room full of Black and brown people, then perhaps reconsider.
Michelle, really appreciate your take on things. Thank you very much indeed.